Nyoro, you can fool some people for some time. You can even fool all the people for some time. But you cannot fool all the people all the time. Before you come to lecture the nation on issues of national debt, the economics of Thomas Malthus, Adam Smith, and Dr. Mukraz, you should tell Kenyans very clearly, without hypocrisy, that you actually drew the budget and you supported the budget that created the finance bill that made youths ban the entire country. Because Kenyans don't know so much about budget making process. So you think you can fool all of us. It is true the country is in debt, but why are we in debt? You have been in charge of budget since this government came into power. So when you draw a budget that we cannot finance, what happens? We resort to borrowing. And then when we borrow, after you're removed from your seat as a budget chair, you come and start telling us that Kenya is in debt. Kenyans should know that actually, when Gen Zs were demonstrating, when Kenyans were demonstrating because of the finance bill, the finance bill of 2024, what Kenyans should know is that before the finance bill, we create the appropriations bill. And we are very much informed. We are not all of us stupid. I'm calling you from Muranga, right? Not all of us people of Muranga are ignorant. We create the budget. The budget explains, the budget states what we need to purchase as a country. So let's say we will use 100 billion on security. We will use 100 billion on national intelligence. We'll use 100 billion on education. We'll use 100 billion on agriculture and all that and all that and all that. After we're done with the budget, the next question is, where is this money going to come from? And that is where the finance bill comes from. So once you defended the budget that you created, that was creating a deficit for our country, because knowing very well that we couldn't finance that entire budget, then the country had to resort into borrowing. And then when the country borrows, you were okay then because you were sitting on the high table. So you were okay. But when the country then borrows, you come back and tell us, we are borrowing more, we are borrowing less. Right? Because you think all the people are ignorant. It should never be forgotten that when the youth were demonstrating outside parliament, you were inside that parliament defending the Finance Act, defending the budget that you had done as a chair of budget committee, right? Saying that it is good budget for the country. And then when the youths were demonstrating, you were whisked through the tunnel to your safety. And then several months later, you come back and tell us now you've become more educated. Let me use the words of Mwai Kibaki, who is the best economist we have had in this country, right? Mwai Kibaki said, how comes that suddenly you've become so wise? Yeah? You've become too clever, suddenly, right? We are not all those kids that you give uji in Kiharu. We are learned people. We have also gone through school. We understand all that economics of Thomas Malthus, all the economics of Adam Smith, all the way from Karl Marx. We have understood all that. So before you come to lecture us, come and own up to Kenyans. Come and apologize to Kenyans and tell them, I have been in charge of your budget since this government of His Excellency Dr. Ruto came into power. I have been making the budget. The president has not been making the budget. So don't come and tell us that Dr. Ruto is bad. Right? Don't come and tell us that Dr. Ruto is being misadvised to borrow. Right? You are the one who was advising the government to borrow, to make a budget that we couldn't have financed. You're behaving like a spouse who, like, for example, if my wife gave me a shopping list and listed so many things that she needs in the house and says, we need this, we need this, we need detergent, we need this, we need to pay for electricity, we need school fees. She does all that. Once she does all that, because I am not able to finance it, I go and borrow. And then when I go and borrow, she starts telling her friends and relatives that she is leaving me because I'm in debt. Think about that. She's leaving me because I'm in debt. Yet she orchestrated the debt. Nyoro, you created the budget that messed this country, if it was messed, right? So don't get out here and tell us, the The government is in debt. The country is being mismanaged. His Excellency Dr. Ruto is bad, right? Come and tell us what you did, because you are in charge of the budget. You budgeted for the country. You had powers to change the budget. You had powers to minimize the budget to a point where we couldn't have borrowed. You had the powers to create austerity measures in the budget so that we stop overspending. So you had all those powers bestowed on you by the House of the August House, the National Assembly. But once you're removed from your seat, you can come and lecture us and start telling us, according to Thomas Malthus, according to Adam Smith, according to the Malthusian theory, this is what we are supposed to do. The borrowing is supposed to exceed what the GDP is supposed to be. Don't tell us about the GDP. Don't tell us about the GDP. Just come and own up and tell Kenyans, I created the budget that made youths burn this country for the first time. I created the budget that when it was passed, it made people riot. If we go Nepal's way, you will be one person to be frog marched across the streets, because we have not forgotten. We have not forgotten how you stood in the House of Parliament and defended everything, right? And you advised the president. The president relies on you, the elected officials, to come and inform him, the president, we have created a very good budget that is good for development. And now you want us to blame the president. You want us to stand in the streets and shout one term for our president, who did not draw the budget. He did not sit in the House of Parliament. He did not sit in the House of Parliament. He did not pass the budget. When you were passing the budget, did you consider these coffee farmers, right? Did you consider our mothers and our grandmothers in Murang'a? Did you consider all that? Or your concern was just Kiharu is succeeding and you making adverts on TV to explain what Kiharu is doing, right? So get out and tell the people the truth. You can fool some people for some time, but you cannot fool all the people all the times. Come and tell the people that I made a budget that was in excess of what Kenya revenue can collect, and that resorted us to borrowing, and that borrowing is what is making us sink deeper into the debt hole, right? But now when you take a mic and you start lecturing us on all these economies, you lecture us on all these economies, and you orchestrated the problem that we are facing. Ndindi Nyoro, all these guys, I'm a two-term person, right? I support His Excellency Dr. Ruto. There are people in Murang'a who are one-term people. But all of us, the one-term and the two-term people in Murang'a, will be able to tell you, Murang'a people, we hate hypocrisy. We hate lies. We don't want those people who will push you. Like, for example, when they normally say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use vernacular here, that it's like hit because you are the one in a good position. And then when you get injured, they run all of them. We don't entertain that. Right? So Ndindi Nyoro, come and own up. Take a microphone and tell Kenyans what kind of budget you did for the country when you were in charge of making the budget for the country. Explain to Kenyans that it is actually the budget that you made that made a draconian, what Kenyans call draconian Finance Act, because the Finance Act is supposed to finance what has been budgeted for, and you were the one in charge of budgeting. So don't take us for a ride. You can fool some people for some time, but you can't fool all the people all the times. Everything people are complaining, everything is being blamed on Dr. Ruto. Everything is being blamed on Dr. Ruto. Dr. Ruto was not in charge of budget. Dr. Ruto did not draft the budget. Dr. Ruto did not pass those laws in parliament. And even if he signed the laws, the parliament had powers to veto if, for example, he had signed something that is illegal. So don't come and lecture us. We know you. We know you're a traitor. We know you're being a con. You're not standing on either the one-term or the two-term side because you want to fall where you will be safe. You want to fall where your pieces can be gathered, like they say in the Man of the People. You want to fall where your pieces can be gathered. We know you. We are looking at you. We understand you. You had better come out and apologize. You have failed the country. You are a disgrace.